Ladies and gentlemen, ni msimu wa machungwa. Machungwa ni matunda ambayo they are very rich in vitamin C. I'm not talking oranges, but wherever you go, you are given oranges. I want to thank those people who gave me oranges yesterday when I visited those places in Murang'a County. In this video, I want us to look at the politics behind Meg Whitman, the US ambassador, who has been pitting for Kenya. Kusema ukweli, truth be told, mgala muwe na haki umpe. Wakati ambapo Meg alianza kuongea, alichukua mwelekeo ambao watu wengi hawakuwa wakitarajia kwamba angechukua mwelekeo ule. Na wengi she ended up rubbing Azimio in the wrong way, if you ask me. She ended up creating more problem with most members of the Azimio. Na kusema ukweli, kile ambacho hajui ni kwamba nchi ya Kenya ni kama mataifa mawili ndani ya taifa moja. That is the truth of the matter, and she needs to take this into account anytime she starts talking politics in Kenya, because there's no way diplomats would go on stage and start talking about elections, and then you ask yourself, what would be the interest? Why should she be involved very actively in Kenyan politics? And we know very well that she failed to condemn police brutality wakati ambapo watu walikuwa wakiandamana. Hatukumwona Meg Whitman akijitokeza kulaumu au kuwakashifu polisi kutokana na vile vitendo vyao vya kinyama ambavyo vilisababisha mauaji na uharibifu wa mali. They were just quiet. But this time we can see the ambassador who has her background from the private sector in United States akija hapa na kujaribu kuzungumzia masuala ambayo wengi wanaona hayamhusu kwa dewe wala sikio. Lakini mimi ukiniuliza, ni vizuri atoe maoni yake, but she need to be very very careful not to cause division in this country. So in this video, I want us to look at the politics behind this move by the US ambassador. If you're joining this channel for the first time, kindly take that 1 second to subscribe. And for our subscribers, like this video in support of this channel and in support of Raila Odinga, vile ambavyo alizungumza jana na vile ambavyo alikashifu vitendo hivi vya mwanadiplomasia wa Marekani kuja kuingilia masuala ya uchaguzi wa Kenya. The first reason in my view is that there is the issue of legitimacy. I've never seen a government that has battled the issue of legitimacy like the current administration of Kenya Kwanza. Tunajua vizuri sana ya kwamba the elections were contested. To date, I've never heard Raila AMOLO Odinga calling William Samoei Ruto the president of the Republic of Kenya. Sijawahi kusikia. Anawaita viongozi au watawala au wanamuita tu Bwana Ruto. And the issue of legitimacy is very very important wherever you go. For any government, the issue of legitimacy is very very important, because that is when you seem to have the mandate of all Kenyans. But when you look at the country today, the country is hopelessly divided, and that is why you have the national dialogue, because of the issue of legitimacy. That is the truth of the matter. So when you see the American ambassador Meg Whitman akizungumza pale, she is trying to poach for Kenya Kwanza legitimacy. Anajaribu kuonyesha ya kwamba William Samoei Ruto anafaa kutambuliwa kama rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. The second reason in my view is because of American spirit of egoism. The spirit of egoism is like that of Hitler. That was with the German. You know, the German wanted to conquer the whole world. If you remember, the First and the Second World War, German, one of the causes of the World War was the spirit of egoism by the Germans. Kwamba walikuwa wameona kwamba sasa wameendelea vizuri sana, and they could lord it over other nations. This is a spirit that is sweeping across America, and America is feeling that it needs now to control the African countries. It needs to control others. So when you see her talking, it is the President Joe Biden who is talking. She is trying to advance the theory and what is happening in America today. The third reason, in my view, is because of American interests. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, there is no way America would involve itself in anything that does not benefit America. American foreign policy is American first, and American first. And that is in the interest of the America. So there must be something. When you listen to the tone of the ambassador, when you listen to the message of the ambassador, you wonder yourself, why would she put for Kenya? Why should she be at pain to explain everything is good in Kenya? Everything is perfect according to her. There's nothing wrong with Kenya. Kila kitu ni kizuri. And we know very well that the economy is hurting. We know the cost of living is very high. We know the finance bill is hurting. But you see, ukimuuliza mwanadiplomasia huyu asema kila kitu ni kizuri na kualika wa makampuni kutoka Marekani to come and invest in Kenya. That is good, to encourage them to come and invest in Kenya. But truth be told, everything is not good in Kenya. Everything is not perfect. We may be in the right direction, but according to her now, but we are not perfect. That is the truth of the matter. Kwa hivyo kile ambacho tunaona ni kwamba America must be having very major interest in Kenya. And it's just a matter of time before these interests are reviewed. I've told you, there is no way that America can involve itself. There's no way America can involve itself in Kenyan politics without benefiting. And this must be economic benefits. Remember, the trade representative was here just the other day in Kenya, and she refused to meet Moses Korea. And they were talking about trade matters. The other reason is because of the fact that America and Britain owns Kenya Kwanza. That is the truth of the matter. The opinion, the feeling of most Kenyans, especially those in Azimio, is that Kenya Kwanza was installed by foreign powers. That is the truth of the matter. The fact is, when you look at Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, and I'll give a video on this, you realize a man who was not in control the last few days, in fact, almost the last month to the election, it looked like Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was not in control. I'll give a video about it, and you tell me why a president would just watch as power slip out of his hand and go to his greatest critic. Because if you ask me, lazima kuna jambo ambalo liliendelea. And you remember very well, American ambassador was telling Kenyans that Kenya Kwanza would win the elections, and they would issue travel advisory to Americans and tell them to take caution when in Kisumu, even during the Supreme Court, even before the ruling was made. Why would somebody know that the ruling? How do you know that Kenya Kwanza was going to win? Unless you have the information, unless you're controlling the system. That is the truth of the matter. The other reason is because of fear of Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga is seen as a leftist. He is seen as leaning towards Russian and Chinese politics. That is the truth of the matter. And you know, Americans are capitalists. You know, Americans don't want to see or hear anything about Russia. And anybody who lean towards Russian side, you are bound to receive bashing from Americans. And that is how even Jaramogi Oginga Odinga did not become the president of the Republic of Kenya. Because you remember, he was like aligned to the Russians, at that time the Soviet Union, and there was the Cold War. So this fear is still live, it is still real. And Raila Amolo Odinga, they fear that he is likely to antagonize the status quo, and America is likely to lose big time. So the fear of Raila is supreme. So when the American ambassador is poaching for Kenya Kwanza, he is fighting Raila Amolo Odinga and Azimio policies in general. Again, when you look at Africa in general today, there is the Scramble for Africa. This is Scramble for Africa season 2, if you ask me. You know, the first one came before Africa was colonized. And then initially, we saw now Africa being partitioned. So what we are having now, they are scrabbling because of the mineral resources that are found in Africa, especially the discovery of oil. Now, Kenya, we have seen many leaders coming to Kenya. They have been trooping to Kenya since last year. Now, you remember very well, we had Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta saying that these people, they know that Africa, there's a lot of minerals. Na wakati mwingine wanakuja, unaona wanabeba mchanga, anaenda kufanyia majaribio katika maabara kule kwao. And they don't come to establish factories or industry in Africa. Why don't they come, for instance, and establish a factory for gold, maybe in Ivory Coast, where we have gold? If we have gold, mbona wasije kwa mfano hapa Kenya waanzishe vibada vya factories, industries for processing coffee? Why don't they come here? Should we continue exporting coffee there? And then we end up again importing the same coffee. Why should that happen? So they are not serious. What they are doing is that they are scrambling for Africa, and the leader of this is the America. I don't know what you think, but if you ask me, Raila AMOLO Odinga did the right thing to tell the ambassador to call her bluff and to continue and reminding her that Kenya is not a colony of the United States. I want to reiterate, just like Raila AMOLO Odinga, Kenya is an independent state, and we don't owe anything to the Americans. May you have a blessed week ahead. Bye-bye.